Gentlemen and friends beyond the binary, welcome to the Monday Discourse for today, February 15th, 2021. I'm your host, Tristan, and I am the host of YouTube channels Tristan Won't Shut Up and Step Back History. I stream 3 times a week on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. What you're watching right now, which goes from 12 Eastern until 2, is the Monday Discourse, where I hang out with Mia Mulder, and she'll be joining us shortly. Then on Tuesday nights, I do Step Back Tonight from 7 to 9. It's pretty fun. That's one more we just kind of just hang out, just you and me. And then on Fridays, I do The Reactor from 12 till 2. I go by he, him pronouns, and if you want to see my work, you can go to stepbackhistory.com or tristanwon'tshutup.com. If you want to support Step Back, you can go to patreon.com/stepbackhistory, where I now have annual memberships, which means that you can pay for an entire year supporting Step Back for a 16% discount, which is one of the things that somebody pointed out is that if you support Step Back at $5 a month with a 16% discount, that means it's $4.20 a month. If you want to check out, if you have Amazon Prime too, you can support Step Back by using your free Twitch Prime subscription that you get with your Amazon Prime account by using it on a subscription on Twitch. So that's a thing that you can do. And then on top of that, if you don't use it on me, please use it on some creator because it really helps people out and it's free money. As far as other things going on with the channel, the latest Step Back video is out. It's about Maroons of Jamaica. It is one of the least good. It's like one of my worst performing videos since like the fall in months. So please, if you can, love to help out. And my next video, which should be coming out soonish. I'm in the research phase of the next video right now. I'm reading a whole lot of books. Is on COINTELPRO, which I think is a topic people have been wanting for quite a while. So I hope that one does pretty well. The tentative date I have for its release is March 12th, but could be sooner. Could be as late as March 15th. We'll see. I like to determine the release date when I get closer to having an idea. Right now I'm just researching. I haven't even started writing yet. I go by he, him. I already did that one. I do go by he, him pronouns. I don't know if I skipped that or not by accident. If you have questions to submit to these streams, I guarantee we're not going to be able to get to it today. But I do have a link here that you can use to submit questions so that you can help feed this stream with content for us to chew on. And also, Step Back History recently passed 86,000 subscribers yesterday. Woohoo. And that's good stuff. And that means there's lots of new people showing up. So, if this is your first time, hey, thank you for the subscription there, MPL Civic. Maple Civic. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. Come on. I scared Romeo with my sneeze. But if this is your first time watching a stream, please make yourself known. We have a pretty active chat scene, so I would be very happy to have you say hi. And welcome our community. And this is Romeo, who's down here. Fun story about him. I'll talk about. Someone just said, sorry about sending out a picture of a pet when your pet was. Listen, if you're asking for good vibes on Twitter, you are already anticipating to get those kinds of pictures. So don't worry. That's just sort of how it goes. All right. Are you going? Are you going? All right. Goodbye, Romeo. He'll be back. I guess now we should just get me on the horn. Oh, fun. He's going to start hanging out on the crinkly paper. That'll be great. I'm sure that's great audio.
Hello.
Hello.
You sound like you're coming from the wrong microphone, my friend.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, I can fix that for you. Yeah, because I've had all my audio devices decide to take a reset. You know when like they decide like you got everything set up nice and your computer just decides, you know what? Nah.
Nah. Also, apparently my voice is very loud.
Alrighty, that should be good.
There we go. Ah, you sound just crisp. I tried to find the cat that lives in my apartment, but alas, she did not want to come out. And then now I'm... You know that anxiety you get when they don't come the second you call them, and suddenly your head is filled with the ideas of, oh no, she escaped.
Yeah, actually, I have a little bit to talk about with that.
Oh, really?
Well, how was your Valentine's Day?
I had a good Valentine's Day. I hung out with my one true love.
Bjorn? Is that Bjorn?
Djungelskog from IKEA.
Well,
Big baby.
yeah, you cannot see me out, right? Oh, I haven't pushed the button that says transition to the new scene. There we go.
Uh-oh. You can't even see the bear that I showed. Oh my god.
Yeah, bring the bear back.
Djungelbjörn.
Droopy bear. So, yeah. So I guess I should probably tell a story about what my Valentine's Day was like, and that is the cat that you heard crinkling all of the moving paper just the other day. On Saturday, sometime in the afternoon, got out of the house and was gone for an entire day. So
Oh no.
we were trying to find him. So we looked around the house. We tore everything apart. We went around, looked under decks, looked in all the hiding places. And everyone knows that when your cat or your animal is missing, that you are basically having a constant anxiety attack until they come back.
Yes.
So, like, we printed off signs and put them around the street. We, got all. It's so much more tech, so much more high tech than it was back in the day when I used to look for, like, when I lost my cat, like when I was like a teenager or something like that. Because like now they got Facebook systems where you like put it in and they send it out to the local community and then everybody shares it on Facebook. They've got like, the Pound has a website where they have pictures of all the animals that they have brought in and everything like that. So, so we spent the entire day basically freaking out, being really sad, tears, everything. And luckily, our neighbor found Romeo, my big dumb boy, hiding under one of her vans, where he was just vibing underneath the
Just hanging out.
Yeah. We did everything. I was like so worried about him, but because it was also yesterday it was like -10 and we had a snowstorm last night.
Oh,
And cats.
that's scary. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was already convinced that he had frozen to death just getting outside on Saturday night because it was so cold. Anyways, last night, like at like 9:00, the neighbor called and she said that she had found him and we brought him in and he was perfectly fine. He had just been vibing. Like I had been looking around the house 1,000 times. I didn't think to look up the underneath the van that was literally right beside my house. Like I just thought like, hey, cats like hiding under vans. Maybe I should look at these vans that are right there. And I thought, no, I'm just going to walk around the house a whole bunch. So he was like, I literally like was walking around calling his name and he was just vibing underneath one of the cars. So he's home now. He adjusted to being back home pretty quickly. Now he's just building himself a nest in the corner of my office and looks like he's taking a nap. He's doing a very cat thing, which is that he's lying on a pile of very crinkly paper while I'm doing a stream. Meanwhile, if I'm going to take the camera for a second, There is a cat bed right there, and there is another cat bed over there.
It's not as fun as crinkly paper.
Yeah, it doesn't crinkle. That's why he likes it, my guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Romeo is home safe and sound, and although that meant that it was a very emotionally draining day, and we neither of us were in the Valentine's Day mood.
Mm.
And I got Kelly like a Valentine's Day present and everything, and I had a whole like surprise present giving thing set up, and it was just like, oh, here's your present. I'm sorry, our boy is missing. We can't have any joy.
I'm very sorry. I'll be back in like a minute. Sorry, I'm being called.
Sure.
I'll be back in a second.
They put up the Mia signal. Oh. You know it's going to be an issue if you get a dog because you'll need to have constant access to the yard. Constant, what's it called? I have a back door. Obviously I'm going to like monitor the thing is about dogs that make them different is that they actually respond to when you call their name, they actually respond to you. And also people are much more likely to report a missing, like a dog that's wandering around by its own than like a cat that's wandering around on its own. Because like cats, somebody compared like when a cat's on its own, you just like think, it knows what it's doing. It's going somewhere. When a dog's on its own, it's like a toddler in a CVS. Like everyone wants to make sure that like he gets home. In our backyard is fenced in too. So it's fenced in enough that a cat could get out because there's like things that they can jump on, but a dog would not be able to get out, I don't think. It would have to try pretty hard to get out. So I'm not that worried. Well, the dog doesn't need to be able to get out all the time. If it wants out, it starts whining and you let it out. And then you watch it while it's out. That's about it. He had been hiding inside your sofa for 4 days. Oh my goodness. You don't need, yeah. Like, my parents had a dog for a number of years. So I had a dog. I lived in a house with a dog for like 2 years, and we didn't have a dog door. We just took him out when he needed to go to the bathroom. That's about it. He would go by the door and start whining. Besides, in this country, having a easy way for a dog to get in and out is also saying it's also like, I don't know how it is in jolly old England, but like if I were to put like a dog door on our back door or something like that, that would basically say, hey, if there's any possums or raccoons that want to come visit the house for a little bit, feel free to come on in.
All right.
You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
It's no problem. Let me get you back on the thingy.
Anxiety about stuff. So, anyway, we're back. What have I missed?
We were just talking about the logic of dog doors, and I don't know how it is in Europe, but like if we were to put a dog door on our door, that would basically be like a free invitation for raccoons and possums to just come visit.
Yeah, it's pretty much the case here too.
You've
People
got
still get them though, but
the Swedish micro bear.
when I grew up, I had a kitty door on the front door, and what would happen was that the cat that lived in my house would never leave, but every single neighbor cat would come to hang out.
Oh, fair.
Uninvited.
You'd be like, cat. You're just talking to your cat. You're like, you can't. You have to stop having your friends over.
Like really.
I was about to say, like, I don't know if you have any, like, I guess, like, yeah, stray cats, but, like, I can't think of any animal in Europe that's, like, small enough to fit through a dog door, but, like, is, like, a legitimate, like, threatening animal. Like, I think of things like how here we've got raccoons and possums, which are vectors for rabies, and that's why, like, we don't, like, do doggy doors that much.
Yeah.
But...
Well, I mean, we have raccoons here as well, don't we?
I thought they were indigenous to North America. badger and foxes, and of course the Swedish micro bear.
Apparently, they have been introduced.
Oh, fun.
They got introduced to Europe in the 1930s, and now they have overrun Europe.
That sounds like something they do. What's it called? Toronto has like had to spend tons and tons of its own resources to figure out how to deal with raccoons, because raccoons are so good at, because garbage boys are so good at garbage trash panda. Trash pandas are so good at getting into garbage cans and stuff like that they keep having to redesign the locking mechanism on like dumpsters and stuff like that. Because not only do they figure out anything long enough, but once one of them figures it out, they start teaching the other ones, and it starts spreading around the city because they're really smart.
I mean, so it's like an arms race.
Yeah. And like Toronto has like legitimately like people like municipal engineers and stuff like that have to study the Toronto case on dealing with raccoons, because the raccoon problem when it comes to trash and stuff like that is like a legitimate like it's the forefront of the arms race to critter proof things.
God, what a world. Yeah, we don't really have that many troubles here in Europe, honestly.
Yeah, to the point where Toronto's like unofficial mascot is a raccoon.
Amazing.
Like, you know how sometimes people have like personifications of their countries?
Yeah, kinda.
You see a bulldog with a monocle and a top hat, and you know you're talking about England.
Yes.
Toronto will often do that for raccoons.
Ah, okay. That's just for Toronto.
Yeah, just Toronto.
Oh my god. That is wild.
Yeah, the 6 is pretty. There was a whole show about Toronto's war with raccoons.
Jesus Christ.
What can I say? We're a unique city. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty fun. They're also cute, but they also have rabies. Or they can have rabies.
They can have rabies, yeah.
Like if you ever get bitten by a raccoon or scratched by it, like doesn't matter the status of the raccoon, you just go get your rabies vaccine.
Yeah. Good like general advice too. Go get your rabies vaccine if there's even the slight even the potential of you having been infected by it, because once you start displaying symptoms, it's too late.
Yeah, I had a friend who found out that he had a bat infestation in his house, and they got the bats out of the house, but afterwards everybody in the house got their rabies vaccines because it was just like, can't be too sure.
You can never be too sure.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Rabies is scary. Rabies is like one of the most scary diseases because it is 100% fatal. And it's not a virus. I don't think it's a virus. Maybe it is a virus. I think it is a virus. I used to think for the longest time it was a prion, like mad cow disease, but apparently I learned it's a virus.
No, it is a virus.
Yeah.
That's horrifying. A prion. Like, we have too many fucking disease types.
Yeah, it's true.
I know bacteria and I know viruses. Once I have to worry about prions, I check out.
It's a misfolded protein from eating the brain, doing too much cannibalism.
But only if you eat the brain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So
if you just stick.
My anxiety just got lifted because a cat just walked into the room. Kitty.
You do have an adorable kitten.
I really do.
And she's still small, so she's still springy.
I just wanted to show her off.
She's biting your hand.
She's like great today.
Oh yeah, she is still baby, and cats basically act like they're on crack until they're about like 5. Oh my god, that's so cute.
She loves. There we go.
No,
Just
Phoebe's in here now too. I've got both of them now. I got cats, like Romeo is middle-aged, so he still is a little bit of a crack cat, but for the most part he's just a cat. And Phoebe is 11, which means that she has become furniture. She migrates to different locations to sleep, is basically her life now.
Listen, that's the good life. That's where we all want to end up, really.
Yeah.
Like when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
None of us wants to do anything. We can't go on cruises now anyway. So retirement for me looks like that. I'm going to alternate between various rooms in my apartment.
Yeah. Someone wanted to point out that we haven't streamed together since... Oh, look, it's Phoebes. She hasn't come into my office in a while. Hey, girl.
What a good stream this is.
There has been 3 distinct cats in this stream.
This is amazing. The maximum amount of possible cats have appeared.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we haven't, cause the way that if we were to make like a World War I style map of the house, ever since we've moved, Romeo has annexed the upper floor territories. Meanwhile, Phoebes has control of the extremely the colder but still extremely resource-rich middle floor, which has access to the water dish and the food. So they've had to navigate because Romeo needs a transit corridor into the basement so that he can go to the litter box. And thank you, Dr. Dubieux, for subscribing. Thank you so much. She's going into the cat bed. So like you can see like the map, right? Like I'm trying to think of like a time when they had to like annex a transit corridor. You like kind of like how like the Berlin Highway.
The Berlin Highway, but with your house and the cats.
Yeah, just so that Romeo can get food, and it's a whole thing.
I love that. I love this alternate history universe, World War One, but it's your cats.
Yeah. But Phoebe is coming up here, which means that I think she's she's trying to annex my office.
I like that.
Someone pointed out that we haven't streamed since the big Abby Thorne story.
Yes.
The new classically Abby.
The good Abby at last.
Good Abby, yeah.
We have good Abby at last on political internet.
It's a pretty big story.
Pretty big story. I've known for almost a year and haven't told anyone because like that's not really my thing to tell anyone, obviously. Mm-hmm. And it has also led to me being like whenever we discuss PhilosophyTube anywhere, I've had to say PhilosophyTube because I haven't been able to say Abby, perhaps.
Yeah, I did not know. I was not in on the secret, but I think that's fine.
If you don't know, you don't know, obviously. And I didn't feel it was my place to tell you, unfortunately. And I'm,
mm-hmm.
that's the way it is. But the secret is out.
Yeah, for all of Abby's trans friends, who she was obviously in conversation with, everybody was, because I saw other friend Alice Avizandum was talking about how she's like been sitting on this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
God, I need to do a stream with Alice Avizandum. She's way too fucking funny. She would upstage me though. Too much funny points.
She's very funny. I also feel like there's I've only done one conversation, I guess, or like collaboration, and that's the time I guested on Leadership Holland podcast. And a problem that she knew was going to happen, and that now I know, is that when you get two like shit poster type trans women together, it's like two waves conflating, and it just becomes more shit posting.
Oh no. That explains the gummy stuff.
Gummy stuff. So I feel like I'm hesitant to collaborate because I don't know where the amplification waves would take me.
The only time I've ever had a conversation with her was when she played my daughter in a Midsummer Night's Dream when we were doing the big Shakespeare stream last summer or 2 summers ago.
God, when was the Shakespeare stream? I don't even know.
I think it was
When
summer
was
of 2019.
My God, that was so long ago.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Man, pretty good stuff. I sent her a DM right afterwards and I said, "Nice to meet you. Nice to finally meet you."
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Yeah, but like also in the kind of like broader context, like I was not prepared for how big a deal it was going to be. Like I knew it was going to be a big deal like in our world, but I did not know that it was going to like trend on Twitter and like there'd be like news stories and stuff written about it.
Yeah, that's surprised me too. I feel like
and that she seemed ready for that. Like she was ready with the press release and like had a whole media strategy about it, and I was like pretty impressed.
Oh yeah. Like I don't want to like give away too much of the game, but like I mean she knew what she was doing.
Damn.
She had total she made sure that she had total control, direct control of
when she executed Transorder 66.
When she executed Transorder 66. Years in preparation. The groundwork, the collaboration. It's been like she knew what she was doing. So
excellent. I think. Okay, let's see what we got for questions.
Yes.
Because when people have the option, should we get Mia to answer a question? Almost everybody opts for wanting your take. So we've got like a big pile of questions for you. First one that comes up is, do you think more people would be anarchists if we told them that by acknowledging nation states, they have also acknowledged the continued existence of the Netherlands? Special thanks to the Well's Your Problem podcast for this question.
Yes. Yes, of course.
If there's two things I hate, it's people who hate each other because of their national identity and the Dutch. So
I'm as a half Dutch person, I feel so happy that I can make fun of the Dutch. Like I have complete free reign. Obviously, anyone can make fun of the Dutch.
You claim that Mulder is a Dutch name, but I don't see any double E's, any J's or V's or Z's. So I'm not exactly sure if it's Dutch.
Yeah, it can be pronounced by not making like a sound like you're trying to swallow a whole uncooked potato. So, is it really Dutch? Really?
And don't worry, everybody. The Dutch East Indies was a thing, so we're allowed to make fun of them. They follow the rules.
That's my rule. Yeah, like I told you about this. This is my rule for countries that we're allowed to make fun of. If the country has had an empire in like not too distant like time, then we're allowed to make fun of them. Or if they've invented an ideology that is like bad.
If I remember, the Dutch have.
So making fun of the Italians is like anyone can make fun of the Italians as much as possible. They tried doing overseas empire and they invented fascism, so anyone can make fun of Italians.
Mm-hmm. But like I just remembered that they still have Saint Martin, which is Saint Martin spelt like somebody who what's it called, like pushed too many keys when they were writing it.
Saint Martin, yeah.
Yeah, so they still have an empire, so we're still allowed to make fun of them. They have a current empire.
That's true. God, yeah, the Sinterklaas celebrations with blackface parades. Yeah.
Oh fuck! I forgot about how like continental Europe is like everyone like somebody's life could be destroyed by doing blackface unless you're the Prime Minister of Canada in North America, and then like continental Europe, it's like the peak of comedy. Like it's the only joke they have.
Yes, we haven't invented another joke. Making fun of the Netherlands is very fun, but the only thing that's more okay than making fun of the Netherlands is making fun of the Belgians.
Yeah, well, Belgium. Imagine being next to the Netherlands and being the lesser partner in that.
I know.
Imagine being the second shittiest part of Benelux. The middle child of Benelux.
The middle child of the Benelux, yeah, and that's somehow. The Benelux in general is just like a hodgepodge of chaotic evil energy. Anyway, we're being very mean. Would it make more people anarchists if they realized that they could not recognize it anymore? Maybe. Unfortunately, it wouldn't get rid of the Dutch language, which after many years of having tried to learn, I cannot.
Yeah, like, I mean, the original spelling of your last name would be MJ double U's, like two U's.
Like Mulder.
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 Okay, I almost made it sound like it was Swedish. Mulder.
I don't know what the Swedish would be even. God. I mean, it's the word for miller, so I guess the Swedish word would also be like mjölnare.
Which is also the name of Thor's hammer. So,
pretty much, yeah. All right.
This has been quite a stream so far.
We're doing great.
Somebody made your Dutch name, which Mia is spelled MJA, and then your last name is spelled MJUULDEHR.
Mulder. But Pim Corman says very rightly in chat that it makes more sense than English, because English doesn't even have compound words.
This is true.
Like some beta ass language that can't compound words.
This is the thing. This is the secret of English. English is, if it wasn't for the fact that it has a bunch of really dumb exceptions that you just have to know, English is probably one of the stupid simplest languages of Europeans to learn. Like, it has no gendered words. It has no what's it called? It doesn't need a Becherel because it doesn't have that many verb tenses. So. It's not like French where you have to have a dictionary and then you also have to have your Becherel so that you can conjugate all of your verbs in the 19 verb tenses they have. But instead, what makes English so fucking annoying is that its vocabulary is like 5 times the size of most Romance languages. Like, English has something around 500 some thousand words, while French has something like 125,000. And on top of that, has a lot of grammar rules. That is, you do this all the time, except for all the times you don't do it. And there's no rule for when you don't do it. You just have to know the thing. So, that's sort of like...
At least, after all of this, we can at least all agree to hate the Danes.
Okay, the next one. This one's going to be a little old. This is going to go right into more logical territory of stuff that we're good at.
Nice.
And by that I mean we're going to have to wax lyrically about a country that we've probably never done any research on.
Perfect. That's our expert topic, really.
Yeah, so the Myanmar coup.
Yes.
Do we have thinks about it?
Coups are generally bad, but I haven't looked into enough to see what the deal here is. Like, generally bad, the military doing a coup, pretty bad. But, you know, there are always exceptions to historical rules, so I don't actually know.
Yeah.
I think I like democracy.
You like democracy?
I love the Republic.
I love oh, yes.
So I think that maybe, I don't know, coup is generally just vibe wrong with me, but I would have to look into this to see what the case is here specifically.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
So there's a couple things. On the whole, I think that it is bad. I know coup, bad, weird thing to say. But I did dig up a few random things that are interesting to talk about, which is one, this is an example of a thing that shows up in several countries, especially post-colonial countries, that I think is kind of interesting, where the military has this weird political role, where the military sort of sets itself up as this they are the thing to keep the country from going into utter chaos. And so if they think that the government has gone too far, that it's like their duty to take over. And you see this in this is the case in Turkey, this is the case in Egypt. Any country where you see a military coup like every decade or two usually has this sort of this history of that. And I don't know the details about where that comes from, but it's I think Thailand does it too, actually.
Wouldn't be surprised.
And these are all it's a strange was gonna say they're all former colonies, but Turkey wasn't a colony. Turkey was the colonizer. But it is interesting that they have something like that. The other thing is that Myanmar Mulder.
Oh my god.
The other thing is that the election where Aung San Suu Kyi was elected, if you look at the results of the election, there's one notable region that didn't get to vote, and it is the region in the southwest where all of the Rohingya people live, the Muslim minority that live in southwestern Myanmar that notably Aung San Suu Kyi oversaw a genocide of a few years ago, a Buddhist-led Islamophobic genocide, which, you know, is one of those things that I always want people to pay attention to because nobody paid attention to this, and it's caused a massive refugee crisis in Bangladesh. So there's that.
Well, that's horrifying.
Then again, the people doing said genocide were the military that have now taken over the government. So
all sides bad, maybe.
Yeah, all sides bad. The other thing that's interesting too is that Aung San Suu Kyi is one of those characters that like had a lot of like Western establishment love. Like she kind of like, you know, there's sort of like the exceptional person from colonized country model that they love to bring out to say how great somebody is, like sort of like what they did with another person who I actually think is quite great, so she doesn't fit this model, but Malala Yousafzai, if you remember her.
Yeah.
So Aung San Suu Kyi got like she was like a pro-democracy activist. She was under house arrest for decades. She got a Nobel Peace Prize for trying to be a pro-democracy advocate in a military dictatorship. And then democracy came to Myanmar, she got elected, and then all of a sudden was like, hey, Rohingya people, who are them? So it's like a complicated situation because there's like all these pictures of like every major Western leader talking about how much they love this prime minister who then
goes and does genocide.
Yeah.
Yeah, like genocide bad, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is okay. This is way too complicated. Genocide's bad.
Train good.
Train good.
It's like
we should just let train engineers run everything.
And someone said parts of Asia really like anti-Muslim genocides right now. Yeah, there are currently 3. There's probably like 2 anti-Muslim genocides going on right now, and one that is just like one like Narendra Modi re-election away from happening. So maybe when you find people that are like, oh no, I just chose this moment in history to just be really shitty to Muslims and to criticize their religion, just openly and honestly, like you have to think about the context of the thing of these things.
Yeah. Like people talk about like Muslim sentiment in Europe and in America, and it is really fucking bad. That's not to be understated at all. It's fucking horrific. But when people talk about like anti-Muslim tendencies as a general concept, people are far more worried about it happening in a variety of Asian countries.
Mm-hmm. Keep in mind also that the history of like religious conflict between Muslims, Buddhists, and Hindus is pretty old. And it has its own. This isn't like a 9/11 started thing. It's a historical. It's been around for a long time. But now that the West is all about like, hey, let's hate Muslims now, they're kind of like there's a lot of permission to be shitty to. They're able to get away with a lot of shit.
Because Western countries won't interfere anymore.
Yeah. And then there's also horrible Dutch Islamophobes, which you have to mention because there's like Geert Wilders or whatever, who is the perfect center of this conversation about anti-Dutch sentiment and Islamophobia. Is that Geert Wilders, or he looks like someone weird, doesn't he? Isn't he like discount Julian Assange or something? I don't remember.
Sorry, what?
He there's some other person that Geert Wilders looks a lot like, if I remember correctly.
Yes, another American, an American former politician.
Yeah. Okay, so that's I think that's a lot of juice, surprisingly, out of the Myanmar coup talk for people who don't know all that much about it.
Mm. Well, again, genocide bad.
Genocide bad. That's a pretty good like go-to thing to go with.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I'm very happy with that answer.
yeah, most of what I know comes from there was this. I had a friend who she was Burmese and spent a lot of time working in Thailand with Burmese refugee camps and stuff like that. So what I know from talking to her.
I mean,
Um,
it's better than what I know because I don't know anything really.
yeah. On the next one, ooh, this is a deep cut. Could you talk about the Chaz in Seattle? Remember the Chaz, the CHOP, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone?
Oh my God! Yeah. Oh Jesus. Uh. Oh my God. Yeah. The Capitol Hill Thomas. That was a while ago.
Yeah. Um,
What about it?
I don't know. It just said, "Can you talk about it?" And the answer is yes, we can talk about it. Um,
Um. I mean, I like autonomous zones generally, but it's not a real attempt at a sort of commune or uh, like anarchist society or anything. The only thing that really happened, at least from what I managed to piece together, is that it was just like because of a lot of protests, the cops were basically like, "Oh, well, we're just gonna leave, and then you can have the purge amongst yourselves, and you'll be crying to have us back." And then things actually didn't go super bad, and then things eventually started to go a little bit bad over time since no one actually did anything.
then someone got
To
shot.
Someone got shot, and then the police came back because
Yeah.
they realized that no one in there actually like tried to.
It was more
No
of
one tried
like
to build an alternative. It was just like like even anarchist societies have like a structure, an order.
yeah.
Um, and the Chaz just didn't really have anything.
I think it was trying to do something more in the vein of like the Tahrir Square autonomous zone or the one that was set up in Ukraine. I'm trying to remember what the capital of Ukraine is.
You mean the Maidan protests?
Yeah, like the
I think it's a square in the Maidan. Yeah, but
yeah
like
the
they
Maidan Square. That's it. That's it. And they set up like a kind of autonomous zone in the area to be like kind of like a permanent protest, kind of like what
yeah.
Occupy Wall Street was. Um, so that was sort of like yeah, Kiev. It's in Kiev. Maidan Square in Kiev. But like so like that was like what they were trying to go for.
Yeah, but there was no like fire to keep that sort of energy up.
Yeah.
Which I think is actually a pretty smart move by cops, because if cops hadn't pulled back, and they would like if cops would try to like keep invading whatever the zone or whatever, that would have like that pours fuel on a fire, which if used properly can like fuel a sort of creation of an autonomous zone. But if the cops pull back and people have to like just make that themselves, no one really prepared to bring their own fuel.
Mm-hmm.
That's my take on it.
I also think that it suffered a lot because of the context of the pandemic and
Yeah.
like people were even though it was peak protest season summertime, it was still pretty like nothing that will ever happen during this pandemic time is going to be normal. And so it might have been more successful, kind of like with Occupy Wall Street or Resurrection Town, which was a sort of civil rights version of this that happened during the 1960s in the what's it called, the National Mall in Washington. That these things, they like I feel like it would have been a lot better if it wasn't for the fact that they were dealing with a pandemic at the same time.
Yeah, probably. Like
We'll see.
we'll see what happens soon. I mean, it's still pretty cool that it happened.
Yeah.
But we should definitely try to learn lessons from the failures of that, because it didn't go that great, like in hindsight.
Yeah, it could have
I
been
think.
better. I give it a B. But
I
also,
give it a B minus.
when we get to, oh sorry,
No, go for it. I'm
When we
just
get to post-pandemic, if we ever get there, and we have to deal with like what I'm predicting, which is going to be like an Occupy Wall Street 2, that's going to be way bigger because there's going to be so many people in poverty in America after this is all over. And once you kind of get out of like the emergency zone where all we're really thinking about is just not getting the virus, things are
Mm-hmm.
going to start getting spicy.
Yeah, like when what the eviction halt that America has, and like it keeps extending by 2 weeks every 2 weeks, some bullshit like that. When they finally decide to like not extend that anymore and let landlords evict people willy nilly for not paying rent, um, that's gonna be a crisis. I've seen a lot of like people in the economy sector being like, we should not invest a ton in renting right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because once people can become evicted, and once people when once like landlords want to have back pay or even just want to collect rent properly again, um, there are gonna be some spicy things happening, and that is not that's having investors being a little spooked at least.
Yeah, now there's rumblings going on here that Justin Trudeau is ready to be like, hey, all that emergency money that you guys got, that you paid because it's made out of your taxes during the time, you're gonna have to pay that back now. So now they're like getting ready to be like, all right, so everyone's gotta pay back their the emergency money they got.
It was like, if they start doing that shit, yeah, we're definitely gonna see a Wall Street. Because like, not only are we doing like 2008 depression crash things because of what happened in 2020, uh, people are also, as you say, asking for more money.
Yeah.
No one is like, oh, the market bugged. People are just like, no, it's a healthcare problem. We're all affected. Uh, which poor people will say is bullshit, and then we're gonna have
Yeah, like
angry people on Wall Street.
the narrative that a lot of people are taking away is that the neoliberal things got us through the worst of these things. But not only did the neoliberal people fight all of these things the entire way through, but once, like, I feel like a lot, like, the fact that we saw so much spicy political action last year, even when people are afraid to go outside because of virus, just makes me think, oh man, all of these crises are not going to go away when the virus is over, and the long-term effects of this shit's going to have to be faced, and we're not going to be afraid to be near each other because of virus. And so yeah.
Yeah, that'll be it'll be a spicy
May
post
you live in
pandemic world we're
spicy
gonna live
times.
in. Oh my god, everything's gonna become so chaotic.
I miss when I didn't live in history. I want to live in a time where history's not going to write about it, you know?
I'd love to live in like a dark age, but not shitty. I want to live in a time period where 400 years pass and people can easily dismiss it.
Yeah.
Nothing of significance happened during this time.
I miss living in precedented times.
Yeah.
Okay, next thing we got here is what do you think of Quebec's separatism in 2021? Oh,
I
boy.
mean, isn't Quebec full of racists?
I
From what I
mean,
remember.
yes. I mean, it's definitely, we've got a weird, our racism is weird. It definitely has a higher than the national average organization of like neo-Nazi groups and stuff like that.
Mm.
Basically, think about it this way: because of the different cultures, this will make a lot more sense to you. The other 9 provinces have English people racism, which means it has like Tory rednecks, like, you know, people who are like, I hate Justin Trudeau because bad government, you know, because he wants the earth to live, even though he doesn't. He's not doing enough to accelerate the death of our planet, basically, is like the main issue that they come up with. and you know, complaining about social justice warriors and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Quebec has French racism. And French racism has its own particular flavor. There's lots of cream, there's lots of cheeses, but also they will have like a group that's called like the Wolf Pack that is like, you know, like openly neo-Nazi, and they don't see like they don't understand why there's a problem with that. So, you know, like it's got that sort of like how the French and English display their racism kind of comes out in Canada in both flavors. That's why like one of the things that Canada can kind of like enjoy is the fact that the French racists and the English racists hate each other about as much as they hate all of the other minorities that they're trying to oppress. And so if they ever realize, if like, Jean-Guy Monteau-Rouge in Chibougamau realizes that he has as much in common with Alberta Billy or whatever, on their like hatred of all of these minority groups, then they will know it is time, and horrible things will happen in this country. And then also the other big thing, and this also speaks to the culture difference. Anti-Semitism has a very different role in both of them, in that the French are way more into it. The English put a few more layers between their anti-Semitism and their open anti-Semitism, while like French racists are just like, yep, anti-Semitism, we're good with that. That's
Yeah, like that's not like even an exaggeration, because like I don't know, I feel like obviously I'm exposed to far more like English culture and language and stuff like that, but I do also like sometimes like see like more European continental anti-Semitism, and like it is really, as you said, like obviously even in like English speaking culture there are the people who blame the Jews for everything. But at least when they say that, most people at least recognize that, like, okay, you're weird, you're a bit of a fringe person. In France, or in French-speaking cultures, I feel, French racism, people will blame the Jews, and then, like, most people from the middle would be like, well, I don't agree, but let's have the discussion.
I don't agree, but we're going to almost elect you president of our country.
We're almost going to discuss the potential merits of your opinion.
We're like, wait, who got to who won the first round of the presidential election? Wait, what party do you come from? What was the things that your dad wrote about? What's going on? Who is like wait a minute. No, wait. Okay, so because France in the most recent election, this is why everybody had to glom onto fucking Macron, is because the other person who was going to win was fucking Marine Le Pen, who comes from a political party that was established during Vichy France, the red flag number one, and the leader, Marine Le Pen, her father garnered quite a reputation as being one of France's most prominent Holocaust deniers.
Mm-hmm. And just general bigots. Like a lot, like common people knew how much her dad just is extremely bigoted, even by French standards.
Mm-hmm. And then she was almost made president. So like, yeah, like, and the thing is that Quebec also has in Quebec and Montreal specifically, we have like one of our largest Jewish communities, which the anti-Semitism in Quebec is really nasty. Well, anti-Semitism in Quebec is like, openly hating Jewish people, and then like anti-Semitism in Canada, the rest of Canada, is like trying to twist your like the weird frothing support of Israel that seems to be laden with like, and then we don't have to have them here anymore. Yeah, it's super fun. It's super
anti-Semitism bad, and also I don't know, Quebec separatism seems.
Quebec separatism.
Do we really need a second, even more French Canada?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Like the thing about Quebec separatism, and I've done a video on this. It was very much a like specific movement of a specific time. Like there was an independence movement in the early 20th century that was like very Catholic, very conservative. But then the one that everyone knows about came out of the baby boom movement, kind of like it was basically Quebec's response to the student movement. The 1960s boomers growing up, like they got into Quebec separatism. That was like their thing. They had two referenda, one in 1980 and another in 1995. Both of them failed. The last one failed very closely. But then fucking the fuck was the guy's name? He died a few years ago. So, but one of the major like leaders of the like Yes on Quebec separatism campaign came up and said that the only reason they lost this election was because of money and the ethnic vote. Which means like he meant that like a bunch like money and basically yeah. I think the ethnic vote stands on its own. Which after that referendum was over, like it more or less like just killed support for the Quebec separatism, and Quebec separatism support is pretty low today. And like millennials don't give a shit about, or millennials by and large don't care very much about French separatism or Quebec separatism, and
French separatism. If Quebec leaves Canada and rejoins France as part of the French like interior or whatever, that is probably the most cursed alternate timeline.
Yeah. Are there no left-wing Quebec independence groups? The thing is that Quebec independence is, I imagine that they do exist. But like the Quebec nationalist movement has sort of just, it peaked in 1995 and it has been going down ever since. There's Quebec now fights more for autonomy and being able to do their own thing and having their own like rules and stuff like that, because they're basically like, yeah, they're like Canada's Scotland. They want to, or I don't know how it is in the UK, but like they have a lot of autonomy in Canada because Canada is not a very centralized country. It has its own constitution. It has its own government. It has to listen to the federal government. But literally, when we made our constitution, they strong-armed a law into place so that they can violate the constitution whenever they want. And which they're doing right now for doing the very French thing of making it so that they remove all religious symbols from nobody who works in the federal, or no one who works in the government can wear religious symbols, which they very slightly reference. That means crucifixes, but that especially means turbans and hijabs. Because of course, because Quebec, because like that's how French racism works. We're getting rid of religion, so you can't wear any religious garb while working on the job, including the people who cannot turn it off. So it's like, oh god damn it. Anyways, now the only separatist party, the Bloc Québécois, they're still pretty big, but people don't really vote for them for the same reason that they think that people are voting for them. And provincially, the nationalist movement, like the main party of the nationalist movement, the Parti Québécois, has sort of had a lot of controversy recently. They've had a lot of tumultuous governments. And now they've sort of started to split into two political parties, the Coalition Avenir Québec, or the Quebec Coalition, basically, and Québec Solidaire, which basically meant that they split into a left-wing nationalist party and a right-wing nationalist party. And as you can probably guess, because we live in hell, Québec Solidaire, the left-wing nationalist party, is tiny and basically only has representation in like the French university towns around Montreal. While the Coalition Avenir Québec, the right-wing nationalist party, is the current governing party of Quebec. So, yeah, now the PQ is... The CAQ is from the Liberal Party. Yeah, they're still a nationalist party. They're still a right-wing nationalist party. I didn't say they came from the Parti Québécois used to be the nationalist party in Quebec politics, and now they aren't. They are one of three, and they are now like basically fallen apart.
Sounds very complicated. Also, you cut out for like half of that conversation, unfortunately. Suddenly there was just quiet, which is why I pointed out, what? Because I heard suddenly there was silence.
Long story short, millennials are now more into... millennial Quebecois people are more into left and right-wing politics. The left-wing party is very marginal. and the right-wing party is currently running the country or running the province.
Mm.
So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it sounds like everybody in the stream heard it, but I think it was something with the Discord call thing.
Yeah, probably. As long as everyone else heard it, that's good.
Right. Quebec is in a weird place right now because it's basically doing what
Quebec
Europe's
has
doing.
always been in a weird place.
It's true. Quebec's doing the same thing that its politics reflect what's going on in Europe more often than what's going on in America. So,
oh God,
basically, it's now like, hey, should we start electing far right weirdos? And their answer to that is maybe yeah. And here we are.
Here we are.
All right, the next question we got here is from Lauren Franz. And the question is just, are you an American Civil War buff?
No.
I mean, a little bit, but not for the same reasons a lot of people seem to.
I like the concept of reenacting stuff. I think that's fun. I like historical reenactment societies. I think that's as a concept is fun. I don't necessarily think doing it just about the Civil War seems fun. That seems like a very American thing to do. But I don't really care about.
Do you guys do military reenactment for like old medieval battles and stuff?
No. Not. I mean, we have like Ren fairs and stuff, but we don't really do like a big historical. That's a very I feel like that's a very American thing to do. Being like, I am going to recreate the Battle of Gettysburg with my buddies in the park. Maybe it's sometimes like once or twice, but like it's not. It's really not even close to as big of a thing. We have Ren fairs basically.
I want to learn a little bit more about how in Germany, apparently there's a huge culture around like Wild West stuff where they dress up like cowboys. And,
oh yeah, well we have that here too.
And also they're really into dressing up as indigenous Native Americans, and they do like, which like big no here, but again, Europe.
Europe. Yes, this is a big thing. I almost got a job the year I got out of acting school, working at a place called High Chaparral, which is basically like Sweden's equivalent to this, where it's just a Western park. It's just the American Western. That's it. They hire Native Americans to like live in teepees and be like weirdly exhibitionist and smoke peace pipes with adults and bury war hatchets or whatever with kids. It's a weird thing. I almost got a job there as a cowboy.
Oh. Now you could have done like an Annie Oakley thing because you know how to shoot and also
Do know how to shoot.
Yeah.
Also, and I used to go there like as a kid, like quite a lot. Very, very fun. Now looking back on it, very problematic in many various respects. Good steamboat tour though.
I always enjoy a good steamboat.
Love a steamboat. Definitely messed with my priorities for a long time because now I think steamboats are cool as hell.
It's true. Okay, the next question we got here is, what is this relationship between you and Robert Evans? You seem to talk about him a lot.
We like Robert Evans.
Yeah, we're just fans.
We're just really good fans.
Like
come guest the stream.
Like the only thing about Robert, the reason why it comes up so much is because my content overlaps with Robert Evans's a lot. And so fairly often I have to be like, well, I want to make a video on this subject, so I have to find out if Behind the Bastards already has an episode on it so I don't step on his toes because our content's just so similar. And also anytime we would do something, he would do it better because he's a machine who can like he's like one of those people I think who can like read a book in a day.
Oh yeah. Also, apparently you forgot to dab.
Oh. So Robert Evans, so we're just like I have never had contact with him. I am like 2 degrees of separation at least away from him.
Which on YouTube is quite a lot.
Yeah, I have an acquaintance who has been on Behind the Bastards. That is the closest I've got. So, there you go.
There you go.
So there's no actual connection.
Yeah, we don't know him at all. We're just good fans.
Yeah, and my work my work ends up in the same space as his a lot.
Mm.
And we have very similar politics. All right. Next, we got some Christos Nicolau question. All right. Okay. I forgot. Christos Nicolau writes, okay. This may be a stupid question, so disregard it if you think it is. Well, we'll be the judge of that. Besides, have you seen the questions we've answered? Suppose you can change an embryo's genetic codes or characteristics with CRISPR, i.e., strength, intelligence, get their D&D stats up. Would that be considered eugenics even if you're not killing or stopping someone from reproducing? I'm leaving out choosing a child's sexual orientation, neurodivergence, gender because that's obviously eugenics. Can we decide a characteristic if we know how it will be? If we don't know how it'll be socially affected?
I would say yes.
Yeah,
But it's a very good question, and I will say that because I like that we're disregarding a lot of stuff that's obvious, and that we're talking about like the edge cases. I like that. I think that's really that makes CRISPR and eugenics like an interesting question, because otherwise
yeah. So basically, the idea is like, for example, say we could use CRISPR to make it that everybody who was born had was their brains just worked like, I don't know, 10% faster. Everybody was just like 10% more quick-witted and smart and able to remember things better. And we would do nothing to get rid of like a lot of the things that like eugenicists bring up. Is that still eugenics if we just had like here's humanity 1.1 version 1.1?
Kind of, right? Because when we're talking about like inequality of access, I'm really blurry now for some reason. I don't know why. CRISPR got me. And if there's any sort of inequality of access, right, then it's obviously eugenics again, because people who can acquire good things can like breed their own families to becoming more, I don't know, effective, and then it just keeps going. That doesn't work. If everyone, because I like the scenario that you're proposing, that like 100% of the population becomes like upgraded, or whatever, however that would be. That assumes that everyone would be want to be in on it, and I don't think that is possible. So just because we are individuals, there would be people who aren't taking part of this, and suddenly we either have to accept that we want to have, that we're just going to create different species, or we're just accepting that this is eugenics. Because this will lead to an inequality of access eventually if we keep doing this. Even if it is completely available from the beginning, over time, unless everyone is in on every single step of the way, it will eventually lead to inequality of access, which will eventually lead to completely different scopes.
Yeah, I see a couple things, and this is why, like, to me, the eugenics argument, I think it still seems like it's eugenics-y to me, because what would happen, and this is is that, first of all, you come into a lot of the big questions that come up when you talk about eugenics, and when you talk about kind of anti-disability, like, bigotry, which is like, what traits in a human are the ones that we consider good, and which ones do we consider things that like the issue with disability studies is that, or with the issue with like people who have disabilities, is not that they have disabilities, but that we don't have a society that lets them be the person they are, or doesn't let them participate in society, and that we take able-bodiedness to be first of all, to be a default, but second, to be a thing that, like, if you are not able-bodied, then that is a thing that is wrong, and that is a thing that you would need to be cured of. And just so to say, if we were to just take everybody and make them 10% smarter, first of all, no way to measure that. No way to measure that at all. So like, just like, first of all, yeah, people who would not be intelligent it would very quickly turn into a discrimination issue. Second of all, it's us making a firm statement that more intelligence is better, which, like, I don't know about you, but I know a lot of smart people who are evil as fuck, and I know, and what's it called? I have known people who have like severe intellectual disabilities who are the nicest human beings you'll ever meet.
Oh yeah.
And and like, what's it called? They have done more to make the world a better place than people who are too smart for their own good.
Yeah.
And in my mind, like, making that statement that we need to upgrade people. They need to be made better. Inherently has that eugenics drive in it, that we need to perpetuate and upgrade. And honestly, if we normalized that kind of stuff, I feel like you are going to take us steps closer to, like, well, if we can make people 10% smarter, to me, I have this like crisis because of like how the people I grew up with and stuff like that, where I'm like really concerned about the fact that that there's basically been like a silent genocide of people who have Down syndrome, and it's like because of like genetic screening, and it has, like, I think I know like in the Americas it's a bit higher, but like there's some countries, like I think I read an article that was, I think it was Sweden, where like there's very few people with Down syndrome left because
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. Sweden has not really at all had a discussion about like ableism generally, and definitely not about like the problems of genetic screening. Like, I think it came up and everyone just decided to just like not think about it.
Yeah,
it's really quite horrific when you think about it. What it means for us as a society when we just decide that, like,
and I know that this is a
humanity should be like.
And I know this is a thing that anti-abortion activists like to bring up when they say that, like, people with Down syndrome are being like basically erased. And I'm not anti-abortion. What I am against is a culture that basically even comes to the conclusion that there are human beings that are better than other people based on what the capacity of their bodies are.
Yeah.
And
that's messed up.
Like, we should not be in a situation where finding out that your kid has Down syndrome is going to be a thing that you feel like is going to make your child less than, because all the support's in place. All the support should be in place to make sure that that kid grows up happy and healthy and good and is able to make the world a better place, because there are people with Down syndrome who are amazing people who, they have productive lives and they make the world a better place by being in it. And then there's just like the other level, like if you want to go like super like scientific, clinical, no thinking, is that a lot of times doing stuff like this CRISPR stuff would be engineering a lot of our genetic diversity out of our species. Like, if everyone just had the smart gene, and then we come across like COVID-20 that just like
only the smart gene.
Yeah. Like, you would be on the whole reducing the overall human genetic diversity, which I don't need to spell out to anybody except for apparently this like pro-incest guy on Twitter I saw this morning.
Oh God.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was a fun tweet to read.
Well,
but like, that's like what's it called? The idea that we would be making ourselves more vulnerable as a species.
Yeah.
And yeah, I when I said productive, I denounced and recused myself. Yeah, you don't need to be productive to be deserving of life. This is true.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I feel like capitalists have really destroyed the idea of what productive means.
Yeah.
So this is a completely different thing. I kind of want to reclaim the term productivity to mean like good vibes.
Yeah.
So a good life to me is I mean, I guess that's not what productive means. I want to change the word of productive to mean good vibes. Like, I feel like if I work for 4 hours, if I work for 2 hours in a day, and then I just play Stardew Valley for the rest of the weekend, to me, if I'm enjoying that time, that is productive. To me, like, and I feel like that should be the thing. That's a whole different conversation, though. Like, that had nothing to do with this. So
Yeah, productive. I feel like there's a word. There's a nice word for productive when it is when you are able to do the things that you want to get done. Like to me, like when you have an unproductive day, it's not that you just farted around on Stardew Valley. It's that an unproductive day is like when I had these things that I wanted to do with my day and I didn't get them done, and now I'm like grumpy because I didn't get to do the things I wanted to do.
Yeah, like if you're able to do what you feel like you want to do, that's a productive day. Mm-hmm. That's a good definition. You're so smart.
You should. You only get to see me 2 hours a week. You should see what happens the other hours.
We concentrate all of our like effort here on these 2 hours, and then again, as we say, the rest of the time we fart around Stardew Valley. Yeah.
I wasn't able to keep an animal with a brain the size of a walnut in my house, so.
I thought today that because I couldn't see Cat was gone.
Yeah. I always think of like there's that H Bomber guy line that always is just like when everyone's like everyone thinks I'm so smart, and it's like I remember the time where I was holding a letter in my hand and like a sandwich in the other, and went to drop the mail at the mailbox, and I dropped my sandwich into the mailbox, and I could watch it dropping in and realizing just how stupid I am. And it's like, oh man, the amount of times that exact type of thing has happened to me is like, like there was one time, every time somebody says I'm smart, my brain goes to one time where, because what I do, right, when I feed the cats, I open up the can of food, the tin, I put the food in the tray, and then I put the can in the can place. And one time I just full on opened the can and dropped the food in the garbage and put the tin in the thing. It's like every time someone says I was smart, I'm just going to remember that moment where I just saw the food dropping into the garbage and was like, wow, I just wasted.
Imagine how worse the world would be if we somehow got rid of these moments with CRISPR.
Yeah.
That world would be so boring.
Mm-hmm. The only time I really see genetic, like using genetic manipulation to for purposes on the human species is like when people have there are genetic diseases that are actual diseases, like they will significantly shorten your life and they will make your life miserable and painful for the rest of its existence. And those are things that like for example, if we could get rid of like Huntington's as an example, a disease that that like makes your life painful and miserable and short. I feel like that's a thing that we could do, and also that one's
I feel like everyone agrees on that.
Yes,
I think the key here is asking people who are affected by them what they would want, obviously, and I mean I do not think that there is a Huntington's community out there who want to be respected. Like who think that Huntington's is like a normal, healthy part of the human existence. I don't think that is really a thing.
Or cystic fibrosis, another one where you end up dying by drowning on fluid building in your own lungs. Like I feel like that's a thing that we shouldn't subject people to.
Yeah, there's tons of things here.
But like there's a line between can we get people to live a life where they don't die drowning in their own lungs because of their connective tissue doesn't build properly, and what's going on in the UK where they're giving DNRs to people with fucking learning disabilities.
I saw this today, and it's like this fucked me up so bad. How on earth? The UK? What the fuck? I'm losing my mind here a little bit. Like I'm sorry, Tristan, my good friend, but like
psychic damage. A DNR is a do not resuscitate. It's if somebody flatlines, the order is to not bring them back. Usually it's done if somebody is like extremely, extremely ill and like they're going to die at any minute. You give them a DNR because like that it's just a matter of time anyway and they're very frail.
Yeah, they're very fair, and like it's one of those things to like reduce suffering for the person. But like you don't like the fact that people are giving these to like otherwise like healthy people, just because they have Down syndrome. It's like someone needs. I need to dismantle Turf Island immediately. This has
Yes.
gone too far. This is like, how is this not like a form of genocide?
Yeah.
I'm losing my shit when I lost my shit when I saw this. I how's that even legal? How hasn't like
It's
ah
not. It got, like people gave it like a lot of shit back when it happened, and then they said, "Okay, we'll stop." And then this report is they didn't stop. And it's because like they're looking for any excuses to find people to not put on ventilators because of COVID, and instead of doing it fairly and randomly or something like that, instead they're going, "All right, well then I guess we just get rid of the disabled people." And it's like, oh my god. It's one of the most evil things I've seen in the last little bit.
yeah, like throughout like say like that's one like there are a few times when you see something that's like, oh, that's just whole ass evil, like that's just a completely 100% non-nuanced evil thing. This is like Nazi shit. That's like, I'm not exaggerating here. That's like 1932 Nazi shit. That's not even 1932 Nazi shit. That's like 1936 Nazi shit.
Yeah.
I'm angry. Can you tell?
Yeah. And I do think that the way that capitalism works with the like basically making your like ability to live contingent on you being able to productively make profits for other people uh, builds a culture where we lead towards eugenics like thinking, because we think if you're not a good machine to make people money, then your value as a human is lower, which is like not even like even the Anprims or whatever who say this shit, like they don't even realize like that's not even how ancient people thought. Well, there I mean, I guess the Spartans and shit like that, but there's significant evidence to show that like like the pre-farming, pre-agricultural societies that took care of people with disabilities, people who couldn't walk and stuff like that, and they like took care of them, honored them, and like you know had them as part of their family. Like it's like also we should stop venerating Sparta. It was fucked up.
Speaking of nothing, yes.
Speaking of Greece, I have this weird thing that I have this premonition that I'm gonna get canceled by Greece. I'm going to say I'm going to do a
specific thing ever.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, I was gonna make I'm gonna make a stream, or I'm gonna make a video at some point where I refer to the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedon as just Macedon, and Greece will enter the chat. Like,
yeah, isn't it called like North Macedonia now?
I don't even know.
I think they solved their name thing. I think they fixed, but Greece gets to have Macedonia, but Macedonia gets to be North Macedonia. Yes, they are now North Macedonia.
All right, there we go.
They were Macedonia until February of last year, and before that, they were the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, which I still think that they should be named. By the way.
And in my apology video, I'm going to make a donation to the King Philip Memorial Fund for the invasion of Asia Minor. In apology to the people of Greece, I will invade Asia Minor on your behalf.
I will stand on the banks of the Indus River and cross it for you.
Yes.
I am there on vacation. Please do not bother me.
Oh, man. Remember vacation? God, those were the days.
Remember traveling?
Yeah. Oh, man. It's too much. Oh, what's it called? Like, the last, like, week or two, I'm just, like, this week, the life, like, I don't know, just, like, everything has, like, started to weigh down a lot, and it's like, oh, yeah. Man. I just want to do a thing. And like we're just now getting like past the first wave or the second wave, and People, like, we just got below 1,000 cases a day in Ontario, and already the government's like, all right, open it up. Send those kids back. They sent the kids back to school like a week ago, and we've already had 2 outbreaks in my city of 300,000 people. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, this is gonna go great. We're back.
At least the vaccine exists.
Yep.
And slowly but surely being sent out.
This week, Canada is supposed to finally get its shit together when it comes to the vaccines, because we're like way behind the rest of.
Don't worry about it. Sweden will be dragging its feet far behind you. Don't worry about it. We're the way people were supposed to schedule the vaccines here is not that the government rolls it out. It's the government sends out a link to healthcare personnel where they can sign up for the vaccine at a time of their choosing. But that link started to leak, and suddenly, like, people in the public just signed up to get the COVID vaccine, and there was no barrier to check if they were actually supposed to have it or not. And people published about it in the newspaper, being like, "Oh, it's so convenient," and not as like a huge corruption scandal.
Yeah,
for people like giving the link to their friends and family and shit.
We're supposed to get it now. Like, Pfizer just decided one day, like, oh yeah, we're cutting your vaccine like by 80% this week, and we'll make it up later. And then I guess it's all coming back this week.
We're doing great.
And then the
fact that we have a vaccine, and we got the vaccine for this fucking pandemic, and we're still bungling it up.
Capitalism can't not fuck this up. Everything about dealing with a pandemic, capitalism is just like completely unable to handle it in any way.
I have a like distant friend who lives in China. And occasionally I will just see stuff like on her Facebook, because she has like a VPN and the entire shit, right? So occasionally she just posts about like going to clubs with friends, because they can do that.
Communism is when the government does things, and in the case of COVID, you want the government to be able to do things. Like, if anything, I feel like the vaccine or the pandemic is going to show us, in the long term, is that we have like gutted so much of the state's capacity because of neoliberal cuts and stuff like that, that the government's just not even capable of doing basic things anymore. And it's really sad.
What a world.
Yeah, it's fun. All right, here's something. Something I have often noticed, especially in your older religion videos, when reading the comments, there's often a large group of people claiming that you are wrong. Do you agree with this, or are you planning to remake those videos? I am curious what your thoughts are about your videos covering religion and how you look back at them. Well, one, thanks. Two, I have taken down videos if they've had a significant problem, if I've had a significant problem with them, and I've done it before, and I'll do it again. A lot of the times when it comes to religion videos specifically, the problem that comes up a lot is I'll get a comment that says, "You're wrong about this religion," and then because that's not my personal interpretation of it, and it's like, okay. Like, the most recent example of this was, you were wrong about everything about Aisha because in the video you mentioned what Shias think, and Shias are always wrong. So therefore, you should get rid of these parts. And then I'll get people who are like, no, this is wrong. This is wrong because you mentioned what Sunnis think, and Sunnis are always wrong. And so therefore, you should take this. And then everybody else is just like Muslim bad on that video. But other things will be like, I mention in a video that like that Sikhs don't consume caffeine, as like one of the rules of Sikhi is to not consume caffeine. And then everyone's like, well, you're wrong. I consume caffeine and I'm a Sikh. And it's like, okay, cool. Yeah. It's like,
great.
Okay, cool. Like, I'm trying to say all of the things, and you're like, well, I don't follow that rule, so therefore you're wrong. And it's like, this is the thing about religion, right? It's followed by people, and everybody's got a big myriad of different interpretations, and you have to kind of be considerate of that. And so oftentimes, a lot of people will say that their interpretation of their religion is the interpretation of their religion, and they will comment that you are wrong for that purpose.
I've come to accept that YouTube commenters are either swine or like, you know, most YouTube commenters are fine, but whenever there are comments that like stand out because of the negativity, they are only posted by swine.
Yeah.
That is what I have experienced. That's why I do not read YouTube comments and I have a very substantive content filter. So anyone out there posting slurs on my comments, like I know you're trying to do, I never see them, and they never become published.
Yeah. There's also the whole thing about like, when you make a new video, you get a big flood of positive comments, and that's a good day. And then after that's over, you just get this small trickle of people giving you hate.
Yes, I hate. Oh, it's the worst. I need to publish my videos more often, so I always have like the constant dopamine hits of constant positive affirmation. Because at the end of the month, like when a new video is like starting to be released, and the only comments you get are those kinds of stuff, that's where you get that's all you get. Swine.
That's cruel to our wonderful porcine comrades. Pigs are bae. Pigs are good. They are a good creature. They are lovely. They're smart. They're cute. Some people have pet pigs. I don't know how that works.
I don't know how that works.
It sounds dirty, but I'm sure it's fine. They're like
pigs are awesome.
Yeah. If more swine were to comment and less commenters commented.
Yeah, swine are actually the good ones.
They type with their nose. I just saw a thing that they did a study. This is the times I love science. The article I read was that they managed to teach two different species of pigs, or two different breeds of pigs or whatever, to play video games with their nose. And I was just like, we need more science in our lives like this.
Yeah, this is why scientists were invented.
I love because like when you're a grad student, you have conversations with people in different departments, and you're always just like, what are you working on? And it's just like, oh yeah, I'm working on protein folding mechanisms in order to find a future cure for ALS. What are you doing? I read book and say things are racist. And I just imagine, yeah, like, I would just love to read the grant proposal on we're going to teach pigs how to play video games. Is all.
Reason for study. Think it would be fun. Can they learn?
Can we teach pigs to comment?
That's what we need.
Okay. Next question we got here is: suppose through some divine intervention, Germany, and I'm including Austria in this, was immediately reunified and turned into a demilitarized neutral state after World War II. How would things change in the EU, denazification, the German economy, and the Cold War?
Wait, so after World War II?
Yeah. The only thing I can think of that comes to mind is, first of all, super powerful country, but second of all,
no other country would allow this to happen. First of all,
France was like mad that there was even going to be a Germany after World War II.
Yeah, like a lot of people wanted them to just
like they've already had two chances to exist as a country, and you want to give them a third one?
Third one, and including Austria? That's a big no-no. Like they ended on two Germanys, which was a compromise because some people wanted one very, very, very small Germany. So two Germanys are like the compromise. Some people wanted four. Some people wanted 5 Germanys for some reason.
That was France. Whenever there's like a pointlessly weird thing that they want to do that's really cruel to Germany, it's always like, oh yeah, the French delegation are the ones who proposed it.
We want to recreate Hanover. I don't know. I mean, yeah, super powerful country. Denazification wouldn't work at all.
There would basically be, I feel like there would be an internal civil war just brought upon by like Gladio, like if you like what's it called, Gladio and the fucking like the Soviet Union, like they would both be pouring all of the resources into trying to get that country to go their way. Like it would be the front, it would be still be the like, just because of the location and just the region in general, it would still be like the front line of the Cold War. But without having their own versions, like without having the Berlin Wall, it would just be like Italy, where it was just nonstop terrorism for 50 years.
Yeah, that's basically what would happen, I feel like.
And like Gladio, like the Americans of Gladio would take all the former Nazis and give them jobs as anti-communist terrorists, just like they did in Italy, and in Nazi Germany. Where they hired tons and tons of Nazi spies and scientists to become anti-communist stuff.
I feel like, yeah.
But I'm actually the advocate of long Germany, where it's just that goes down from Berlin all the way across the thing and goes all the way down to the southern tip of Africa. Just like long Chile, but for Germany.
Long Berlin. I feel like I'm in favor of the whole Roman Empire too.
Yeah, why not? Just get Switzerland in on there.
Yeah, get Switzerland. Luxembourg can rejoin. Why not? The Netherlands can probably hop in there too. And now we have the European Union with even more horrifying things.
We'll do some math. We'll do some genealogy to find who the closest relative of Charlemagne that's alive is, and somebody probably knows that, right?
I mean, I think mathematically it's all of us.
We are all Charlemagne.
No, but like just mathematically.
Okay, but somebody has to have calculated like who is like if the line continued, who would be the rightful heir to Charlemagne.
I think there's too much mystery in that family tree to find that properly. I think maybe it's died out.
Okay. Charlemagne living rent-free in Europeans' genetic code.
That's him and Genghis Khan.
Yep. Goddamn. Okay.
Christopher Lee. That's the correct answer. Yes.
I love every time I hear a story about Christopher Lee, I always like love him even more. The fact that he did a metal album when he was like 90. And then also, did you hear this story about this like behind the scenes thing around the Lord of the Rings?
The stabbing story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he's just like where he's talking about the moment where Saruman gets stabbed, and he's like supposed to scream, and Christopher Lee just turned to who's the maker of that movie again? Who's the director again? Oh man, it's just escaping my the name is just escaping me, but he's like.
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson, that's it, yeah. And so he like talks to Peter Jackson, and he's just like, that's not how people react when they get stabbed. It's more of like a gasp. And he's just like, how do you know that? And then he's like, I can't get into it. There's some secret stuff that has to do with World War II. It's like, okay.
Okay.
And then he went and made a metal album about Charlemagne when he was like 90 years old.
Yeah.
Or no,
he lived his best life.
Yeah, we should all aspire to live a life like Christopher Lee. Now I'm going to find out he did something horrible secretly.
I hope not. I don't think... I mean, I think he was uncancelled throughout his career, which I'm very happy about.
I did like how Ian McKellen was originally kind of nervous about working with him because he has a long reputation of working in absolutely terrible movies.
Oh.
God, I have a feeling like because of the people I've talked to who are into movies and into film stuff, the behind the scenes DVDs on the special edition of the Lord of the Rings films has created more people who are into like the movie industry. Like I feel like every millennial who's into the movie industry got into it through watching these behind the scenes DVDs.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so this looks fun. So what's the best option for moving forward with left-wing policymaking? Parliamentary politics is looking pretty bleak across all the boards, and they will never go far enough to prevent a lot of major threats that plague us. COVID pandemic illustrated this very well. I understand that social change that could lead to an anarchic society needs to be done gradually, but I feel like things like climate change hanging over our heads like the sword of Damocles that are running out of time. That we are running out of time. I'm guessing our only realistic option would be joining orgs and working on creating dual power structures and providing mutual aid? Question mark.
Well, I mean, I don't think either of us knows how to fix climate change. I am a YouTube personality. I do not have the answer to that, but I do think I don't know. I feel like it's a bit negative. I feel like sure, like in America and the UK, where politics is a super just stupid way of doing anything because of the way people are elected with first past the post. Sure, parliamentary politics there is stupid. I agree. Same in Canada. Sorry. Anywhere that has first past the post system is stupid. But like there are places where it kind of works, and there are other cases where that have other types of representations that are a bit more successful. Like there have been some people who talk about there have been some people, and I wish I had some names to shout out so I don't just sound like very like a clown.
Rojava.
I mean, yeah, but there have been some places like in more like traditional power structures that where like left-wing movements are sort of gaining traction, like more traditional like left-wing movements.
I'll give one example that is good. I just read this. I read this article a little while back, and this is from the Wall Street Journal. Keep in mind, just to know, like, this isn't like some lefty thing. And it was written from the perspective of oil speculators, who are people who make money off of the price of oil.
Yeah.
Like McKinsey and a bunch of other big, like, investors in the energy industry. And essentially this was a big analysis of the state of the oil industry as it is today, and specifically how COVID and everything is going to work out. And their prediction was that because in 2020 so many people worked from home, that a lot of like the usage of cars went down. So like so first of all, every car company except for Tesla Motors had huge losses in 2020.
Yes.
Which, like, Tesla Motors, yeah, like, okay, fuck Elon Musk, but what that's saying about the state of the industry.
Yeah.
Second of all, the speculators have also said, so like they think that basically their theory is that 2019 was peak oil, and that consumption is going down because not only didn't 2020 did people drive less, but like a lot of people got a taste for the work from home style, and a lot of people are speculating that it's not going to go back the way it was. Second of all, so there's that. There's going to be a lot, like, people are going to drive less going forward. The second big thing is that the UK passed a law in 2019 that went into effect in 2020, which is essentially that you cannot buy any new car, like, you cannot buy new non-hybrid or electric cars anymore. They are just not making them anymore in the UK. The European Union has done something similar, except they're even more emphasizing electric cars. And the European Union spent all of 2019 and 2020 massively building their EV infrastructure. So now it's much easier to have an electric car in Europe, and the price is getting to the point where it's going to almost replace, or like it's not going to make sense to buy a like regular internal combustion engine car in Europe. And Europe and the United States are like the two like big car markets that these people were looking at.
Like that's where a lot of this is going. Yeah.
And the United States has a lot more issues because it's a lot bigger country, and it has less environmental, like, it would never do like the European Union's thing of like We're just going to have it so that you can't buy combustion cars anymore. But and also they worked out a big issue with what's it called? Oh yeah, also Europeans use Tren, which is a big, good plus side. But yeah, it's just basically that 2019 might have been peak oil, and that we're probably
almost definitely, by the way.
And so a lot of the energy industry is already being like, we're going to have to, long term, we're going to have to start strategizing our way out of the industry, which means that in the long term, that oil exploration might go down and things might happen. So that's all been done. Like, what's it called? That shit wasn't passed because there was a revolution in Europe, that they didn't like shoot the president of France to put in this kind of thing. It was done through parliamentary means. It's obviously not. It's obviously way less than we'd want right now, but it just shows. It's an example. You're looking for an example of like parliamentary stuff that actually has worked in some capacity.
Yeah, I think like obviously it is not great, but I don't think it's like apocalyptic in the systemic issue. Like I think there are possibilities in the systemic issue, in the system that currently exists to deal with the issues as they are. But it is difficult, it is hard, it's not great. Another system would work a lot better, but that's sort of where we're at right now.
Yeah.
I hope that's a good answer.
Mm-hmm. And also, I do think that at the same time, dual power mechanisms and mutual aid are still useful things. Like Rojava being able to do what it did in the kind of wake of the Syrian civil war has, like, it happened because of a specific set of circumstances that I think were really good. I do think that we need to have the kind of stuff in place so that if, say, there was a political instability in like a country like Canada, that that would result in us setting up similar types of organizations. Because, I mean, as an anarchist, one of the things that I've really seen is that too many people are like ready to sit and wait for the state to do something to fix our problems while people are just dying en masse. And we need to have a lot more of a structure. And this is going to take intentional work because capitalism fights against it, to be more attached to our neighbors and to have more of like a something that exists outside of the government that is designed to make help us get through our lives and do things to help each other out. If that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
And thank you for following PTSD Tuna. Sorry. That was just such a good username.
It's very good.
All right. So that was that question. The next one is also kind of in a similar vein, which is, do you have any thoughts about sortition or collective leadership like what Switzerland does?
Isn't sortition the fucking lottery thing?
Yeah, where you instead of like, it's a type of choosing leaders that instead of being through elections, it's through like a lottery, like just picking random people to do it.
I think I don't like sortition super well. I think that people should have more of a say, more of a direct say in who should be representing them and stuff like that. I think the Switzerland idea is neat. I don't think it can work on like a huge platform. Switzerland has a very direct democracy thing where they vote on basically everything online, and their like elected representatives don't do much of anything because everything is voted on anyway, which I kind of like, but that also like there I don't know, it's like it's better than what we have now, let's say it like that, but it's not a perfect system by any means, but it's better than what we have right now.
Yeah, Switzerland has a lot because of that. Switzerland's got a lot of issues where if you're not part of the class that has a say in those votes, you get really fucked over. Like, there's a lot of people, because Switzerland is like a big vacation destination for Europeans. Switzerland has a big service industry that has a lot of trouble getting the minimum wage increased because a lot of like people from around the European Union come in to work in Switzerland, and if you're not a Swiss citizen, you can't participate in this.
Yeah. And like someone in chat just mentioned as well, like they have huge right-wing lobbying to keep to keep people who vote like that to keep the system as it is.
Yeah.
Like it's very susceptible to the flaws of democracy as well. Like it just because we get rid of the representatives doesn't mean that we actually do any better.
Mm-hmm. I'd be very much into reducing. In my mind, I like. There's some things I like about Switzerland. I like that they broke the idea that every country has to have one leader. I don't know why we're still stuck on that, but it'd be great if we could move down to having like the leader.
I blame the Roman Empire.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's like as with all things, I blame the Roman Empire for this one.
Mm-hmm. So I would like us to move away from that concept, and also, me, sortitionism is interesting, and I think that if like we needed to run like there's the idea that if we did that there would be sort of like the deep state would just run everything, and not the deep state in like the conservative weird conspiracy sense, but like the deep state in like people who are unelected but are just like professional government bureaucrats would run the government, because you would constantly be cycling in people who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Which would result in a lot of like, massaging and lobbyists and stuff like that having a lot more power, because they'd just be like, I don't know what to vote on this thing. And then they'll be like, oh, well, we wrote this law for you. But also I understand the issue of a political class and all that kind of stuff that is, it just shows that representative democracy is not like a great system. And that for Switzerland stuff, I'm like, more like, it'd be great if like something more like that worked. I would love it to be much more local, because I feel like a government that's too big to have direct democracy is a government. It's a country that's too big. And we should like if, like I said, I'm like against governments that are big enough that you can't personally have at least a rough idea of every single person who's in it.
Yes.
Like if you abstract people to just like the masses, your country's too big. And so like you should be able to on a first name basis walk up to the person who's in charge of your country and say things to them, and they would know you because you go to the same things and stuff like that.
That's why we need like the most Holy Roman Empire that we've never seen before.
A Holy Roman Empire where everybody on Earth gets to be their own German principality.
Or like, let's be practical. At least every apartment block.
Yes.
I have become the prince of apartment 25B. I have been lucky enough to be chosen as elector.
Yeah, here
I
we
have
go.
no actual power.
The holiest Romanist empire.
The most holy Roman Empire.
But
they still pick 9 electors at random every year, and they get to vote on someone to become Holy Roman Empire, and every year it ends up being like
some Austrian guy.
I was gonna say like what the fuck is his name? Oh my god, what's his name? I completely blanking. He played Heimdall in the Thor movies.
Oh, I don't know.
He's very tall and handsome.
Is he a Skarsgård?
No, he's a black man.
Oh, Idris Elba.
Idris Elba. Everyone would just vote for Idris Elba every year.
Idris Elba just gets to be Holy Roman Emperor.
I would be fine with this.
Okay.
He has no political power, but all he gets to like be Holy Roman Empire as a title.
Yeah, just like a mascot for the planet.
Yeah.
Someone said that sounds libertarian. It is libertarian. It's libertarian socialism. It's what's it called?
The good kind of libertarianism.
Yeah, it's libertarianism in the sense that communities would be autonomous to manage themselves and would work in interconnected communal projects.
Fun fact, this is what libertarianism used to mean until fucking classical liberals decided to be like, what today call it, but before like extreme individualists decided to like take it from us, and then we had to invent a new term, and that became socialism.
Yeah, fucking Murray Rothbard.
They took Never forget what they took from us.
Oh boy. I'm looking at like, oh, we need one more question for the next thing, and I just look and it's like a paragraph long question. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the next one on the list.
Let's say that. Sorry for the long rants.
No, it's all good. That's what we're here. That's what they're here for. This is the bread and circuses that they want.
The bread and circuses.
What's it called? 200 days of games.
200 days of games.
All right. When responding to the adoption over abortion question, you mentioned Romania's terrible orphanage system. What if someone responded by saying that meant Romania didn't invest enough money in their orphanages and they would support a gigantic welfare state that included high-quality orphanages? The best orphanages. We got the best ones.
We get the best orphanages. We're gonna build an orphanage. Moldova's gonna pay for it.
God damn it. Fucking Donald Trump as Ceausescu. Jesus Christ. That's
Oh
a
my God.
that's a curse. That's a curse thing.
Oh no! Oh God! Truly, like the mannerisms of Donald Trump with the ruthless efficiency of Ceausescu. Oh, I don't like this at all. I don't remember the context of the response, unfortunately.
So like if you remember a few weeks ago, a while ago, we had a conversation about how like one of the examples of why like anti-abortion shit's bad is because of like what happened in Romania with the orphanages and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what if we just put all of the money in the orphanages?
Oh, well, I mean, I think that's good on its own. Also, like, I think that's a good thing, like, on its own. But I don't think it would take away from. I don't think it actually would impact the argument anyway. Like, it would still right like it was still like the bodily autonomy argument is still like the most severe one, right? And also because that we're sort of relying on orphanages as a practical solution rather than as a like a harm reduction measure, because that's what an orphanage is, really.
Yeah.
Like a child doesn't have any parents. Harm, a good orphanage is the harm reduction. Like,
yeah.
Ideally, everyone should have a we should still do harm reduction. This is true when it comes to all sorts of harm reduction. But it's not something that we should see as like the solution to whatever it is we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think that's a really smart answer from me. I performed well today.
Great. Now you're going to accidentally throw a fork in the trash today. You're gonna eat something out of a disposable cup and then throw the cup in with the fork in the trash. Yeah. You've used up all of your smart for this week, and now you have to.
I'm gonna tear off the lid from my yogurt and throw the rest in the trash.
Exactly. I don't know why that happens to me so much.
It happens to me also all the time, and I'm stupid.
Honestly, like the Romania example is just an example of like why anti-abortion laws can be like really disastrous, and for example, harm reduction should be a thing to help in situations that are not, where harm is happening, but the overall goal should be to not have harm in general, to get rid of the harm. Leaning on that as like we're gonna make this as an excuse to take away someone's bodily autonomy, we're going to invest a ton in these programs, which we should do anyway, but and then of course all to take away people's civil rights. Yeah, but the yogurt you lick off the lid is the best part, so it's okay.
That's true.
This is true.
This is very true. I'm gonna buy some yogurt after the stream. I'm excited now.
You have to take a picture because we need another stock photo of a white woman eating yogurt and smiling.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm gonna take my very fancy camera and take some stock photos. That'll be great.
You're gonna have yogurt and a salad, and you'll take.
I'm gonna laugh so hard of my dry ass pasta salad that I'm eating with no sauce.
I thought there was actually a blog for a while which was just like women smiling and eating salad or something like that.
I mean, it's a whole market.
And then it's gone so far to the point where now they have to they try to market yogurt to men, and it's like, this is man yogurt.
Man-gurt. Protein gurt.
Protein enriched curdled or what's it called? Protein enriched dairy product, dairy paste.
That's I hate that.
I always think about like how far like we've gone with yogurt. Like yogurt started as like someone put milk in like a water canteen that was made of like a horse's stomach, and it was in there for so long it turned sour, and some like Mongol person drank it and was like, this good.
Oh shit, this slaps. And now we have like
it slaps. I just love the idea of like this Mongol warrior like, this fucking slaps.
This fucking slaps.
You know what this needs? Some fruit at the bottom that I can stir up.
Oh my god. Now we have cottage cheese and shit.
Then they've got like, I think the ultimate is that what's it called? That Icelandic cheese that is yogurt.
Oh, skyr.
Skyr, yeah.
I think that's skyr. I don't have skyr, but I've had skyr once in my life, but I don't sell it here, unfortunately. No, we sell something called kvari, because every fucking dairy product that we create here in Scandinavia has to sound like a fucking IKEA furniture. And I do not like kvari, even though it is basically yogurt. It's made from yogurt offal, like the stuff you get when you've made yogurt from like the dairy and stuff. All of the like chemical remainings that are left in the bucket, that's kvari. And
so it's the yogurt version of fucking Marmite.
Yeah, and they sell that, and it tastes like normal yogurt, kind of, except it's just off.
It tastes like yogurt that's plotting against you. Okay, we are actually past time a little bit. So, here is but first before we go, we're gonna go raid Emily the Possum Queen. But before we do that, please, Mia, tell her we didn't introduce you or anything. We just assumed. But please tell everybody where they can find your content and who you are, I guess.
I guess.
Please introduce yourself before we leave. I'm the best host.
This happened on, well, there's a problem as well. Halfway, like an hour and a half in, that's when I introduced myself. This happens frequently. People just assume that they know who I am. Hi, I'm Mia Mulder. I'm a YouTuber. I do lefty content stuff, video essays with an historical lens, as you so aptly put one time. And I've stolen that line every so often because it's a very smart line. You can find my stuff on youtube.com/c/Mia Mulder, or on twitter.com/potatopolitics, or on watchnebula.com/Mia Mulder, or on twitch.tv/Mia Mulder. You can find all of my stuff there. I make good stuff.
If you just yell Mia Mulder loud enough at your computer, it'll find your stuff.
If you do that, if you put in Mia Mulder into Google, you will find me. I think I'm finally like big enough where if people Google my name, including the first name, I actually pop up before the X-Files character.
I am cursed by the fact that there is a MMA fighter by the name of Tristan Johnson. But yeah, check out her stuff. She make good content. Content good. And as a European, she obligatorily streams City Builders on Twitch.
I do this. Map games and City Builders.
All right, everybody. We're gonna go say hello to Emily. Everybody be super, super nice because she's awesome and we're a great community. And I mean, you guys see her all the time. Just say hi. Be cool.
Be cool. Be nice.
Yeah. And I'll be back tomorrow night. Mia will be back next week. Peace.
Peace.